are you
Hello,
doing?
hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you? It's been a good day.
It has been a good day,
Been
even
keeping you
with
busy
technical
though. Yeah.
difficulties. Yes, keeping us on our toes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Lorraine, for joining us. Lorraine is our fantastic, fabulous community director, like brilliant genius. I you inspire me so much with how you engage and with the community and just your heart for it. So I'll just let you do your thing.
Thank you. That's a big build up at that point. So now I'm gonna have to live up to that, which is a bit of a that's a bit nerve-wracking, Miranda. But yes, thank you very much indeed. It's I joined as community manager here at Timescale in July, and it was really good to hear RJ talking earlier today about how Timescale put community first and developers first, I should say, because that really does permeate through everything that I've encountered here, from our weekly all hands staff meetings to everything that we're doing. It's always with that kind of developer first mentality. And that makes it a real pleasure to work here as community manager because of that. But there's been a lot of stuff about what is community in tech especially over the last year or so, and I think sometimes it's kind of easy to forget what it's all about and that it's all about people. So I was going to frame this discussion, or kind of what I'm saying today, in terms of what we're going to be doing with the Timescale community in the coming months, in the context of kind of what is community, and taking it right back to kind of a universal understanding of what a community is really. So the real point to me is, like, as a community manager, like, everybody matters. And if you've been in Slack, you'll know that there are quite a lot of people just come in with a kind of a question or two, and then they'll go away, and they're kind of using it as a motel. They're just on the edge of town, and they have what they need, and as receptionists or whatever, the folk there are helping them out, and that's all okay, because if that's what the community needs, that's what the community needs, and that's what we're going to give them. But there are also all other kinds of people in any community. There's the newcomers who kind of about in the same position as the people that are visiting the motel. They need to be told how to get help, where to go, what the best things to, what they can do while they're here. All of those kind of things apply to them, but they're also trying to find their feet in the community. The next kind of that are absolutely welcome are those that want to be kind of self-sufficient. And actually, if you look at our numbers, that's probably the majority of our folk here, because if you look at how many people actually have a timescale database compared to the amount of people or the number of people that are in Slack, and that's kind of there's no comparison really. So where are those millions of databases, and that's actually quite self-sufficient. That's also actually okay. They're all part of our community. The Timescale team is a part of the community, and everybody who joins in there and makes a contribution is absolutely a part of our community too. And then the different levels, people want to have different levels of engagement. The good neighbours, we've met some of our really good neighbours today already during this meeting. Ben and Chris are kind of phenomenal. They're the people you really would want to live next door to, because they kind of help out all the time. Mario is there too. Michael, with kind of the things that he brings to the community. And I also want to shout out, as well as the people who've been here today, Ivan Mavchenko, who spoke on about Timescale at PGConf in Russia this week. All of these people are doing kind of fantastic things for our community and joining in. So I kind of don't want to kind of keep labeling the point, but I just want to get that kind of idea over really about why community matters to me, I think, and what community is really all about. So moving on a little
Also,
bit, go on, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I love that the image that you had. It's so it's really cute, and I feel like it describes community so well. It's just really neat. I love that.
Yeah, I also want to shout out to our design team yesterday, because I only landed this kind of sketch idea on them yesterday afternoon my time, which is kind of, so they've just turned this round in like super fast time. You know, I've been doing my own paintings and things, and I kind of do over to design, and they were like, oh no, I don't think so, and they did it properly, which is amazing. So that was great. So yeah, kind of in terms of like kind of how I'll tell you about what we're planning to do to help build community for Timescale and help get people to where they want to be. I was going to look at what we're going to be offering in terms of like 4 of those kind of types of people, if you like, notwithstanding that there are loads of different types of people, you know, that everybody have got different needs, and kind of putting them into these categories is a little bit kind of false in a way. But if we think of things, you know, how do we make sure that at least these people are getting what they need from us, then our community can develop and grow, and people will hopefully get what they need from us, and we will get what we also need, because it's kind of a two-way relationship really, and we want it to be that two-way relationship. So yeah, the travelers and newcomers, I've already said, they kind of need kind of signposting. How do they get help? Where do they learn? They have immediate needs that need to be sorted out, and you know, so we need to provide measures for them. Those self-sufficient people, they just want to be able to use Timescale, get on with it. They don't want to talk to us about it. They just want everything to be there when they need it, when they want it, so they can self-serve. You know, and a lot of people in the community are a little bit like that. You know, a lot of them perhaps spend most of their life elsewhere. They're not in our village right now. They have other things that they are trying to deal with. Thanks very much. And they're just kind of, they just need to drop in and kind of get stuff from us. Mention the good neighbours, kind of sharing knowledge, understanding the challenges and others' experience, and sharing their experience. And then I'm calling them the Timescale Explorers, because it's a bit controversial, because we have a bit of a program, but those are the people that are pushing the boundaries and really are committed to Timescale products, PromScale, TimescaleDB, and they want to make sure that Timescale endures continued success, because it's important to what they do as well. So let's not forget that it's not kind of about Timescale as such, it's about what's the fact that Timescale has become important to those people, and we need to kind of be able to give them what they need to. So so some of the plans that we've got in the coming months, because if you've been in Slack, you know that we are primarily a Slack community on the face of things. So, but we're going to be looking at doing a new community page. So that signposting for travelers and newcomers is going to be so much better, so that think developer first. Let's get you what you need as quickly as we can. So if you're coming in to look at docs, then you can find exactly where to find the docs, that kind of thing. We'll be looking at that. We're introducing better onboarding to Slack. I'm looking at trying to do a workflow thing where we're actually a bit more dialogue right from the outset, so we know what you've come to us for, so that we can kind of have, and also kind of like what your ambitions in terms of the community might be, you know, because right now we're kind of flying blind, and it's kind of depending on me kind of jumping in and kind of asking people and saying hello, and just generally being like the community village busybody, which is kind of my role, you know, is to like find out what people need and match them with the people that might be able to help them. So that's kind of where I fit in as a community manager. We're going to be doing more content oriented, starting out with TimescaleDB and PromScale, and Miranda and Ryan, Attila and Donatus are all going to be kind of involved in that in a big way. And we're also introducing something into Slack, and you may start to see it if you are Slack users already, which is going to be kind of introducing expanded answers to the very common questions. So when you ask about, I don't know, give me a common question, Miranda. Give me a common question we need an expanded answer to, because I haven't got one prepared here. But basically, no.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like,
Common question. I know that continuous aggregates is a question that we get a lot around continuous aggregates and things like that.
Yeah. So and because we kind of have like those questions several times, you know, it's very easy to give the brief answer if you've answered it 10 times already, but that's not helping anybody who's new. So what we're going to do is we're going to use something called Guru, where we prepare cards with the best links and the best information for somebody asking that common question, so that rather than kind of giving a brief answer, because we've kind of like answered it before, you know, we could share that information that way. So that's another of the things that we'll be doing really soon. You're all going to be busy when I finished with you developer advocates. So for the
I'm excited.
yeah, for the self-sufficient, the continuous improvement of development of docs is always high on our minds, and we've got a fantastic documentation team. I'm going to do a shout out a little bit later, but you know, for those who don't know, all of our docs are in GitHub, and you can raise issues there. You can also do pull requests. Woohoo! That's controversial, but no, it's not controversial at all. We want you to do it, so it would be enormously helpful to our docs team if you join in on that. Ongoing development of how-tos and tutorials for the self-sufficient. Weekly live streaming events. We're continuing with our monthly office hours sessions. If you haven't joined in on those yet, you know, please come and ask your questions and find out the latest things that are going on. And we're planning to do more events like this one, because you know, you're more than welcome to kind of just drop in, and you'll notice we didn't ask for registration from anybody. This is not a transaction, everybody. This is about us trying to give you what you need, and we don't need some kind of, you know, we don't need your email address to encourage us to do that, because if you get what you need from us, then you're better able to use Timescale. You're going to use Timescale next time you have a similar requirement, because it was easy last time around, you know. So yeah, it's not about collecting info from you. You can just lurk, and that's fine with us. So good neighbours wise, one of the things I've been conscious of, and I think everybody's conscious of, is that am I talking too fast? I probably am, sorry. Everybody
no, you do.
Timescale has because we're all enthusiastic about it, we could be a little bit too eager to jump in with our answers all the time, and actually I'd really like to allow some more space for community exchange, and that might only be like 30 minutes or an hour sometimes. If a question looks really kind of like somebody's dying out there, you know, they kind of really need an answer now, then maybe it's different. But we're going to allow a little bit more space for other people in the community to join in Slack. We're creating some new chat. We've already got 2 of these, the show and tell channel, which I would really love it if people started sharing what they're doing with Timescale, because as you see today, you know, people really want to know kind of how Mario's doing, what Mario's doing with it, you know, and how Ben and Chris have met their challenges, you know, and that is really super important. So I'd love people to join and share info in the show and tell channel. We have a Timescale live channel, which isn't really working with Restream, so we might kind of think that through, but I'm minuting the office hours in there. If anybody wants to know what's going on in office hours, you can see what's going there. And we're probably going to have a water cooler channel, but I'm going to wait a little bit for that one and kind of get the show and tell going really first, because I want to know what you're doing with things. But that will enable us to have like conversations that are less about product and less product focused and less specifically like that, and just make it more of a community feel. And let's see how that goes, because all of this is kind of let's see how it goes, really, you know. I mean, it's not kind of, there's no kind of, there is a science to community, I won't say that, but you know, there is a very determined kind of strategy and direction and what you're trying to achieve and everything. But it's we try things, and that's actually true of Timescale. I think we try things and we learn and we iterate, you know, and you know, run fast, just don't break things, as we say, you know, move fast, don't break things. And we'll be introducing new features in Slack, such as that really important little emoji there, which is if you find something in the documentation, you've asked a question, the documentation isn't representing what we're telling you, then if you click on that emoji, that will send a message to our documentation team to take a look at that thread and review the documentation with those comments in mind. So there'll be more of that. There'll be more of these emojis appearing that you can kind of go, you know, maybe it'll be somebody's gone into Timescale Cloud when they meant to go into MST, and we'll have an emoji that just means we can throw the channel, throw you to the other channel and do it that way and repeat your question there. So lots of things of that nature, which is all about kind of building what we're offering community, really. Next, the Explorers, and I'm calling, we're revisiting Heroes program, and kind of my jury's out on the word heroes, so we may kind of be renaming that yet. We'll have a think about that. but you know, consistent within that will be kind of plenty of opportunities to join in with Timescale, to share your stories on our blog, to so that we can support people who want to speak at events on behalf of Timescale or kind of share their stories in that way. And just generally recognizing community ambassadors, again, not in a transactional way, because yes, we can like offer you a t-shirt, but that no way represents what somebody like Ben and Chris are doing, you know, and they probably already have too many t-shirts anyway. It's not kind of about that. It's just like saying, you know, this is just an amazing job you are doing for us, Timescale, and you know, kind of we really appreciate that. Would like to know if people want to be included in product research and focus groups, that kind of thing, if that's what's interesting to you and you want to contribute and be a part of that, so you help shape products or help influence kind of how we go about things, that would be amazing if you let us know that that's something that would interest you. Opportunities to contribute, we'll be looking at documentation you can already do PRs on and raise issues if you kind of find things that you want changed there, and code and other contributions we'll be looking at. And again, looking at those enhanced facilities in Slack, I kind of want to explore if, like, for some of those kind of community leaders, we can't actually open up that guru access to them so that they can also have an easier life and also write up kind of notes on the very frequently asked questions. So we're going to be continuing to review Slack's meeting our needs as well. So we're good. Oh, trying to click in the wrong place there. So there you go.
Also, I would say our t-shirts are pretty exciting because I mean the logo is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I like that. I like the vintagey ones as well. I have to say, like the car one and everything. So yeah, I mean, that's been a lot about what we do kind of in our community, but you know, we also appreciate that people are out, like I say, they have lives out there, but they're also kind of representing Timescale elsewhere, helping out lost travelers in Stack Overflow, Reddit and Twitter. I mean, we love people to be in Slack all the time and only there, but you know, some people don't want to join those communities and, you know, kind of product communities, and that's also fine. Being loud and proud and joining in our conversations, joining in with co-contributions. And we also give back, by the way. We kind of actually hire engineers to work on co-contributions, and that's kind of one of their main kind of reasons for their role, is to look for opportunities to contribute to core and things like that. So supporting community events with speakers and sponsorship, engaging in adjacent communities and more. So yeah, coming back to that, there's kind of all kinds of ways you can kind of join in and help. You can just get what you need from us. We don't mind, you know, if you just want to look, that's also okay. And if you found that interesting, if you kind of thought, well, actually, I didn't know I could help out like that, please just let me know what you'd like to explore with Timescale in the community. I'm always open to people getting in touch with me, and indeed that's how you can do it. So Lorraine P on Slack, Atomic Mutton, that's a longer story, on Twitter. My whole name.
I have always been curious about the Atomic Mutton.
I mean, it's to do with kind of like 90s girls band. There was the 90s girl band called Atomic Kitten in the UK. I don't know how international that is, but that's like a play on the mutton as lamb and all that stuff. You know? So,
I'm definitely looking at that band now.
So.
Yeah, I love it.
And there's some of the places that you can find help with Timescale. So there you go, a whistle-stop tour of community. And we couldn't really do a community day without at least talking about you and our fabulous community. So thank you very much to everybody who's joined in today. And yeah, it takes a village. So
it truly does. Yeah,
accurate timing. I can't even believe that. Yeah, you think I'd practiced it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Lorraine.
No worries.
Yeah, community is so important, so valuable. And I know that we so appreciate all the work that you do for Timescale and for the community and everyone. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to drop in the chat. I do have one question for Lorraine, and that is, do you think, or like long-term wise, are we sticking with Slack, or are there potentially options in the future? I know that that's something that people have been curious about. So
Yeah. So I mean, in-house, I mean, there's no in-house at Timescale. We also have these discussions, it has to be said, because we don't. I mean, I even saw something on, I think it was Postgres Discord, saying that we don't have a traditional community, which kind of initially kind of made me go, oh, a bit ouch about that. I was like, oh, really? You know, we do have community, and they were saying that we don't have a community in a traditional sense. I think what we're doing right now is trying to push Slack as far as we can take it. We just want to see what we can do with Slack, because that's where our kind of community is currently talking. But I think that longer term, for some of those long form discussions and those ones that have history behind them, Slack isn't ideal. So for sure, we'll be considering and looking at when the right time and what the most appropriate approach to some kind of forum type product or engagement is of value. For now and immediately, we're kind of, as I say, trying to get, by using things like Guru and by using the, 𝗙𝗶𝗱 as the kind of the workflow, the introductory flow, and being able to direct message people more easily as groups. I think that we'll try and see how far we get with Slack on that. And also, it's all opt-in. I must add on that. You know, if I start kind of getting in touch with you, because one of my jobs, I feel, is to get people to meet each other, which I've been doing on today, you know, kind of, hey, you should talk with Mario sometime, you know, and that kind of thing. If you don't want that, it's also okay to say, look, you know, just leave me alone. I don't want to be involved in that. But, you know, that kind of direct messaging and things, we'll see how we get on with Slack. But yeah, hopefully we'll be developing some of those things in the near future. So
that's awesome. Well, and I love like also all the like great ways that you have kind of been introducing, like with Guru, and even like the use of emojis. It's just cool to see how the Slack community has started to kind of like transform and like this creative way to hopefully help you know, all the community more effectively. And so that's really cool to kind of see that. And I'm excited to have the Guru stuff in action, because that, I mean, I just feel like the easier that we can help people start up with understanding Timescale, I mean, just the better for everyone that is, you know? And so that's exciting.
100%, 100%. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll be quiet. Which everybody knows is a really hard thing to do, is to get me to be quiet.
No,
me and Ryan.
not at all.
Anyway.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us. That's awesome.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.